Hi, hello everybody, and welcome to week 3. I think it's week 3 of our weekly sync. So, how is everybody doing so far? And we know we'll get into retro here in a minute, so we'll go into kind of detail on things that went well and things that maybe could be improved. But yeah, any other comments before we get rolling into stuff?
I think this team rules.
Like
seriously. It's been good.
Cool. So let's see here. What do we have going on? So I think we have Adam and Tam. Is your PR still open? I think, right? I haven't quite got that to the merge yet.
They literally just closed it. So it should, I think it's all done now.
Okay, cool. We can worry about actually doing the mechanics on that in a second. I was just gonna say we can walk through and do the demos here real quick so we can kind of see what the state of things are and where they're at. Let's do the other two first. I think that was Taryn and Vanessa. Does either of you want to kind of pick up and talk about what you did and how things went through the week?
Sure. I want to pull up the issue card again just to make sure I follow. I guess if it's closed. Okay. Well, how do you feel, Vanessa? Do you want me to share screens first?
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, I can share. I have it pulled up, or if you want to share, either is good for me.
Go ahead, go first and I'll follow. That's fine.
Okay, cool. Let's go to my desktop here. All right, can you all see my screen okay? Awesome.
Yeah.
So on the right here, I just have the local host pulled up what we did. So it's not merged yet with Adam and Tamara's. So our task this week was to have this welcome page, which we took from the wireframe from the project, where you have this ability to click on a button to create a new list, which will generate a token in local storage. So I have the local storage. You can kind of see it should populate here when we click this button. Yay. So over here you see token, and this token gets stored. And when that happens, the user is automatically redirected to the list component. And then the cool thing we added in here is, if I'm up here in the URL, if you try to go back to the home screen, it'll notice, oh, you have a token, so it'll redirect you right back here. Taryn had a cool idea to be like, ooh, we should probably enable users to clear the token. So even though that wasn't in the ticket, I think it's just a good UI practice to just be able to let your user kind of move throughout the app easily. So if you do clear token, then the token gets removed, and then you're here on the welcome screen. And then also here, if you try to type in list, I don't think this was in the ticket, but we're like, you shouldn't be able to go to the list view if you don't have a token. So it'll redirect you as well to the home screen.
Yeah, if you want to pull up what you like, Vanessa had a really good idea when it came to the welcome screen, like just the way we kind of migrated our components around. Initially, it was like our list and our add item components would be rendered on like the home screen. And so Vanessa was like, let's make a welcome screen to migrate some of this stuff over. And I thought that was really smart and well organized. And yeah, you can see that's where you pulled in that function from the library, the get token, and that's where we were able to store it on our local storage. And Mindy was really helpful in our, is it in the, which component is it in? Refactoring that code. I don't think, yeah. Well, is that, yeah, because we do, yeah, at the top there you can see, instead of passing props, Mindy was like, oh, maybe you should destructure them like you did on the app component. And that fixed our issue, because we were having an issue with getting the token to like be globally cleared. It would like be cleared for a moment, right? It would like temporarily do it in our local storage, but then it wouldn't redirect us for that reason because it wasn't globally updating the state. So yeah.
And I think we moved the nav bar, which was at the bottom of the screen. We did make that its own component as well this week, just so that on the welcome screen, you can't access the nav bar. So any other component that does need it, like Lister.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We're adding this line. Yeah, this component nav bar.
Yeah. I hadn't used the use history hook extensively, so that was cool. That was Vanessa's contribution for sure. You're like, we can use this hook, and I was like, oh, nice. So that was really useful for redirecting in our case. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That looks great. Awesome. Anything else you want to note or show real quick before we head on over to the other two?
I think that the only thing I had a question about actually is, are we intending to like store previous tokens? Because in that form down there, it says share tokens, we can join the existing list. Is that going to be an issue in the upcoming parts of the app to where we can store past tokens that we've used perhaps in our local storage? And or would we be like doing a drop down or like typing it in manually? Or that was just a question we had asked about further implementation, instead of creating a new list every time, because once we create a list, it's going to redirect us to that set list, if that makes sense.
Probably speak to that a little bit. Yeah, I think you probably won't have to like have a list of previous tokens necessarily, at least not within the app. Within your Firebase console, you'll be able to kind of find different old tokens that you need to use to like check to see if you can join the existing list.
Cool.
Like you can use those later, but yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about a lot of the stuff is not necessarily implemented in code for the existing list.
Okay. Yeah, cool. That was it. That was my only question.
Great.
And we'll kind of be able to share like the token later, but I don't think we have any plans to like persist them and retrieve them.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. All right, Adam and Tam, who among you two would like to hop in and kind of show us where you two are at? I know that there's still a PR at the moment, but I think we'll get that closed in a minute. I did drop links to like kind of the Up app as well, but yeah, go ahead, and I think if you're just showing local stuff too, that would work.
Cool. I definitely think Adam could take the lead on this.
Sure.
Like I told Mindy, he led us to victory on this issue. So I was kind of like co-captain. So
yeah, sure. No problem. Hang on, let me share the screen. It's bigger. Cool. So this is, sorry. Okay. So just saying what we did. So Tamara and I, we added in the add item. So you can add an item in, so say for instance, you can add bananas. And you can choose soon, kind of soon or not soon. And each of these has the numeric value of I think 7, 14, 21. So put in soon, and we can add it to our shopping list, and then that will be displayed at the bottom of the list view. And I think we've kind of got it working together with the token. I know Tamara, Mindy, you did some of that yesterday, so I guess it'd be good to you can talk through that a little bit, Tamara.
oh, sure. Yes. So Adam had showed me a great thing about just database information in general, where, you know, you could use your console log to read the object and like all of the variables that come with like a selected thing. I'm not really a console log type of person, but anyway, I'll definitely share my screen and show you guys what I guess the biggest issue versus like / solution was for us, well, for me as well, with this issue. Let me see. I don't know if I could. Oh, I didn't want to share over you, Adam.
Oh, I'll stop sharing. Sorry. Showing the code.
Cool. Let's see. So hopefully you guys can see. The goal was to basically create a collection within a collection because we're displaying the list. So it's kind of like, I'm not sure if we're using the right terminology because you want to display a list and then the items, or are you showing the container of lists and then you're selecting a list and then you're showing the items. So within hours, we were supposed to add an item to the current list of the correct token, if I'm speaking right. And then you were supposed to show that. But anyway, I just wanted to show that we were trying to connect to this individual item within the like collection of lists, if that makes sense. So like, you know, it's almost like we were trying to connect within the tree of the database to get to this individual one. So was it today or yesterday evening, I was just basically like, well, you know, I do know how to submit an item in to get to Firebase, and then I know how to render it on the page. So at least, you know, for the issue, the solution was to just render this new item into the list and show where it went, basically. So the tokens did show up here. So that's a little bit of more console log that I learned, you know, when we created the field, and the tokens did render correctly as well. So hopefully we could get the correct tokens and then be able to add lists that have the corresponding token. But yeah, so other than that, I did have more experience as well this week with the code. So emerging and assessing both changes and all of that. So even if it was like unintended. So yes, I'm glad that, you know, me and Adam could pull through with our assignment. But yeah, I definitely think with all of our minds and like how we can create branches with different versions, I love that, you know, it does naturally conflict. So we can get practice in solving those conflicts without thinking it's like a Mayday situation. So, so yeah, I think he did excellent this week. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, I think the database stuff is always fun to work through, I think, because it always ends up presenting new things that maybe like, you know, you're kind of like, oh, this is an interesting way that it works and stuff. But yeah, just kind of fun. So awesome. Yeah, like I think you guys are close enough that we'll be able to get the PR merged in, and it shouldn't be a big deal. You know, kind of going forward. But awesome, yeah, like that all looks great. I think everybody did a great job. So that looks fantastic. Let's see, are we doing the retro next? Ron, I'm gonna pass that over to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. So I'm not sure if you saw the message in the thread. Well, yeah, where we are gonna do our first retro or retrospective. If not, I created a new project in GitHub that is similar to the one that we have for building features, but this one is more oriented to generate the items for the retrospective today. So retrospective, the idea is that as we are working on a software project and we are working using, like, let's say sprints or iterations or whatever, the idea is that as we are working on this, this is retro is a space for us to appreciate what other people have done in the last 2 weeks. In this case, what went well, for example, in the project, in the communication, in teamwork, with mentors, with developers, so everything in general. Also, what can be improved, that is like the opposite of that, but the idea is not to be negative, but more to be constructive on what we are trying to do. And then at the end, based on those items, we are gonna create some action items. So the idea that based on that, we will try to see what can be improved. So in the next weeks, we will try to work based on what we say today. That said, the idea that this shouldn't, as I mentioned, this shouldn't be something negative. This should be something where we all try to give warm feedback and we try to grow as a team. And this includes as everybody in the channel or in the group, that is including developers and mentors. So the idea that we all try to be ourselves and try to give feedback about how things went in general and how you feel about everything. So I'm gonna, I'm not sure if you have any questions before I continue. Okay, so that said, if you go, could you please go to the project in GitHub? This is not working. Why? Yeah, now it's working. So as you noticed, we created 4 columns for these retrospectives. For every retrospective that we will have, that it'll be, I think that every 2 weeks-ish, I think that we are gonna have 2 or 3 during the cohort. We will give more details about that because I don't remember right now, but yeah, that's the idea. So we'll have some retrospectives right now in this based on this project. So first, as I mentioned, the idea is to add appreciations for other people. We are going to mention what went well and what could be improved. So you will see examples here. And based on this, we will create some action items that we will try to do in the next days or for the next retrospective. So that's it. Maybe let's take the next 5 minutes to write any items or messages that you would like to add here. So I'm gonna add some myself, and I encourage everyone to do the same. So then we can see how things are going in the project. Okie dokie. So I'm gonna mute myself in the meantime. But I don't find the Zoom control for that. Okay, I'm gonna continue talking. But yeah, that's it.
I'm sorry, we probably could use like elevator music, during the fill out the retro board session, It's just like little, background stuff while processing and thinking.
Yeah, some relaxing music just to get more ideas.
I guess, do you want us to use like a raise our hand to sort of indicate when we're kind of done filling out cards and ready to go?
Yeah, that's a great idea, And where is that? Oh man, yes. I really dislike Zoom's UI. Or maybe you can add a message in the chat if you don't find that. That's me.
As I said, I'm not seeing the button. I wonder if I don't have it turned on. Oh, there it is. It's under reactions.
Oh, cool. No, I couldn't find it in my case. So yeah, I just added a message in the chat. So I'm done, just in case. Yeah. Sorry, I tried. Okay, let's give maybe 1 minute more, then we'll continue with that. Like reading the cards. So in the meantime, I can continue talking. So by the way, we had a office hours last Friday. I think that it went well. There is a recording, I think, if someone wants to see it. I'm not sure, Lyle, if that's uploaded, should be uploaded or not. If
Yeah.
people wants to share that or not, so yeah.
I realized that I didn't get the recordings posted, so I downloaded that. Another thing is we were recording them to the cloud and then kind of blew up the cloud storage for Zoom. So I'm no longer going to do that. After this meeting, I'll make sure everything's up and in the right spot. So we'll get those sorted up and up on YouTube.
Cool. But yeah, basically in summary, we chatted about like interviewing in general, a little bit about testing, yeah, and also about like companies that are hiring early career developers. So if you know about any company, so let's share that in the channel or in other channels. Same for testing. I'm gonna send some links later. But yeah, if you also have some links, that would be great. The more information, the better. Okay. So let's continue if you all feel fine. Okay. So yeah, I would say that it would be cool if every person that wrote the card reads or says what they try to say in the card. So let's go first with Taryn.
You want me to read what I wrote, if I understood you correctly?
Yep.
Cool. Let me find. Okay. Yeah. So I've had a really positive experience with pair programming throughout these last few weeks, and I feel that yeah, it feels really collaborative. It's like no one's making decisions like in isolation. Really great communication, and yeah, just like talking through. Even I think really what's really important is talking through something before you just jump into the code, which is a really, I think, strong habit to build, like being able to visualize and plan ahead before you just kind of start jumping in, which I've had that experience in the past, and you run into a lot of issues that way. And so yeah, I've had a really positive experience with it, especially when you get something working, you know, like, oh, there it is, you know. So that's what I meant by little victories.
Nice. So next, oh, there is a new card from Vanessa. So let's go with Vanessa.
Sorry, are we on the appreciations part?
Yes, so this one.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out, yeah, both my teammates have been awesome. Tamara was like, oh, so refreshing. I feel like we weren't just, it was like the first week, and I remember being like, oh, like, should I be really focused on coding? Like, I don't want to let her down, and like, should it be all business? And maybe we were like that the first day, but then the second day it was like, okay, let's like relax a little bit and like, yeah, share stories, like ask about one another. And like, we connected over like our love for like front end and talked about our coding, you know, boot camp experience and fellowship experience. And that was just so fun. And Tamara was just like so open to like about like each of our communication styles. And it was just great that we could talk about how we work best. And yeah, that was fun. And Taryn was awesome too. Like Taryn is so like, I just love their tone and energy, and they're always upbeat and positive. And the questions Taryn asks are always insightful and like get me to think like beyond what my initial assumptions, like, oh yeah, we could do it this way. But they're always asked, they're never asked in a like, hey, I think we should do it this way. It's like, hey, maybe we could do it this way. Which is an awesome skill to have.
Thanks, that's very sweet.
That's great. Okay, so now let's go with Tamara.
Sure. I definitely didn't want to break the silence of like appreciating from reacting and stuff. But I definitely put both of my pairings so far, Vanessa and Adam, have been like, you know, like I said, it allowed me to sit in the passenger seat to be like, yes, you can take the lead, you know, start typing. For me, it's not a strong suit for me to type with JavaScript just right off the top like I can with like CSS and HTML. So it's great to be like, yes, I've done this before, but I don't know how to do it automatically like you guys. So, and I could just sit there and be like, you know, watching them go and be like, oh, what about this? And they're like, oh yeah, thanks, that's great. And they'll just, you know, so it'll make me feel like, yeah, I get a cookie for contributing and not being like empty space. So yeah, I definitely love the perspective of, you know, letting someone make their footing, make their ground on the work, and how they translate an issue, like when it has, you know, bullet points into their own, and then for it to represent both of us, I could just add those subtle little things to make sure, like, you know, it'll at least make me feel okay that it wasn't all of their doing. So but yes, I definitely love the I loved that the mentor hours, but that's kind of like under appreciations and went well. So I'll just wait till we get to that column.
Cool. And now next, Mindy.
Yeah. I had two different cards under here. One was for Tamara in particular because your persistence this weekend was awesome. Definitely kind of getting thrown a wild card there and being able to run with it was great. So well done there. Also, all of you for getting in your PRs early. I think I mentioned that in the Slack channel too, but like I feel like y'all are getting the time right from the get-go, which honestly I don't think that happens all the time. So well done. Your time management skills are top notch as a team. So well done.
Now, Adam.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, I mean, I specifically in my comment shout out to Tamara for setting up the form and advice. Like as she was saying, you know, I have a tendency to just run into things head first and just code as much like rubbish as I can and see if it works. Tamara came in and, you know, had the actual plan and was like, no, this is what I've done before. Let's put this in, and it just made it went so much smoother. It was really good. And on the 5.0 stuff, I've never used it before, so she ran that and it was really. She got it all working. You know, I explained it to me well, so I understand it now. But it would have been a lot harder without her on that one. But also, yeah, I didn't really write a card, but shout out to Aaron as well for working with last week. It was really fun to work with you as well. Looking forward to working with Vanessa, and also shout out, you know, Mindy, Lyle, Juan, because you've all been really helpful. You know, really talking in the Slack. You know, been there. I feel like, you know, if we need any help or assistance, you're there. So thank you as well.
Now live.
I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Okay, so I noticed that I didn't write a card there. I just want to say that I love how everyone is so self-organized and so independent. So it's great that I think that this is great that you all like create the code and like have conversations, and then boom, there is this PR, and then boom, merge. So this has been like very like super project forward. So I love that. So yeah, I think that you will have done a great job on that. Yeah, let's keep the good work. So I appreciate that. That I think that's kind of related to what went well. Yeah. So yeah, let's go with what went well. Maybe yeah. Okay. So who's first? Tamara.
Yeah, so I definitely put, I believe, 2 in here. I love the mentor hours. Just like Vanessa was saying, it's just like a behind the scenes kind of casual talk, like open I mean, welcome with open arms type of thing, to really, you know, get an introspective of how we feel without coding, but where we stand in our journeys as well. So that's like a plus for me. And then what went well was the mutual commitment of time and clear communication throughout everyone. I feel like until you do connect with other people, then you literally have the responsibility of communicating yourself clearly. Like I understand, like you can be in a corner coding away for hours, you know, but until you have to communicate and send that correctly for someone to receive it correctly, it really becomes an effort to do it. And I definitely think it's like a skill that I don't take lightly. So yeah, I really do love communication and how, you know, everyone else is just as devoted as I am. So yeah, those are my 2 cards for everyone. So yeah.
Awesome. I think I can go next. I'm next on the list, so I'll do that. I had 2 on here also. One of them was just, I kind of just wanted to call it out. Like it was I didn't know exactly which column to put it in, but I learned something new from both of you, both pairs. Y'all did the empty brackets for React.fragment. I'd never seen that before. So I think like there's just this really neat thing. Like I haven't been a developer for that long. It's been a year and some change, I think. Anyway, but you know, like even like that process of teaching, like as early career developers, you're learning kind of stuff cutting edge, and you're learning new things more so than some of the people that will be on like professional developer teams that have been around and been doing it for 20 years. Like and so I just want to encourage all of you, like, that's great. Like, that's such a cool thing to be able to come in and like know that you have that value of being able to teach people who are maybe a little bit later on in their career. So that was one thing I just wanted to call out. And then the other one, I just really like the fact that y'all were discussing why you should merge, or like who should merge first and why, and kind of thinking through that process a little bit. I don't know that our cohort did that at least. So it was really great to see, and I hope you keep up with that. And yeah, so well done.
Now, next, Adam.
Yeah, I think I thought it was really good. I know, obviously, following kind of on from what you were saying, how Vanessa in particular on the PR wrote out all those comments, like listing what you made some changes, really went through it and took the time to actually think about how it would look in the future, which is really good. And obviously also, yeah, Chismin, the same thing. I like this, commenting on the actual stuff. It's really good. It makes it easy, readable. You can see where things are at. I really like that. I thought it went very well.
Yeah, so now Vanessa, sorry.
Oh, well, shout out to Mindy for mentioning that ability to like write actual comments in the PR requests. Those are awesome. Let's see, I had written, groups getting together early in the week have been awesome to get, the team or the team portion done. Cause I feel like what takes longer is definitely the like merging and the pull request commenting. So yeah, like if we keep that up, that's awesome. And then I think I also wrote, when we've used Slack to, communicate, like I think maybe it was Adam this week was like, hey, we're working on this, are we just about to pull this thing? Like that was super helpful, because I think Tamara mentioned earlier too, like you can be coding, but if you're not like communicating what's happening, it's harder on teammates. So like when I heard like, oh, okay, they're working on this, all right, awesome, it helps me schedule my time. And I know we all have other things going on, so it's like nice to be able to know like, okay, I know they're working on this, so I'll check back in later today. Was really helpful.
Now, Taryn.
Yeah, I was seconding Vanessa there in that the willingness people have had to not only start early, but there was an instance with Adam where I had not filled out a pull request like card before. Like we just, make a pull request. And so like I messaged Adam, was like, can we get back on and fill it out together? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And so there have been instances like that. The willingness of the pairs has been really great. And yeah, we've been tackling things ahead of time. And as Lyle said, that we kind of look ahead to where the app will eventually be. And I think that helps us inform our decisions. And referencing the wireframes too has been really great. So it feels very focused and cohesive in our approach.
Cool. Now, who is next? Lyle?
Yeah, I think it's been touched on a couple of times already, but it's worth reiterating again that I think everyone has been doing a pretty good job of thinking ahead and thinking about where this is going to go, as opposed to sometimes you can get tunnel visioned in on just focusing on the task that you have in front of you. And occasionally you can find yourself boxed in, and then you go like, oh shoot, I didn't think about this, and it, it's always going to happen. But I appreciate that I can already see that everyone seems to be really they're thinking about things the right way, they're thinking about how things are going forward, and I think that also lends to good communication amongst everybody, and it's a wonderful thing to see. Keep doing that, it's awesome.
Nice. Something that I have to add is I love how the demos have went, because I love how teams interact. So it's like one person starts and then the other complements, and it's like a shared presentation. And I love how you are managing that, and it was so natural. It's great that that's been that way. So yeah, I love that in general. And now, what could be improved? So yeah, now Mindy.
Yeah, I'll start off with this one. First one, and truthfully, I think a lot of the communication has been done over Zoom, which is great. And like I think y'all as pairs have done a lot of really great communication and gotten back online and done Zoom calls and that sort of thing. I also just want to encourage you to be loud in the channel also, like for a few different things, whether it's like just you're not sure about something or you're curious about something that's tangentially related, or even like, you know, if you learn something new, like feel free to share it in the channel, because I think the whole group will benefit from learning that. Or if you are like, even if sometimes when you say something on the GitHub PRs, sometimes it's helpful to even reiterate it or make a note in Slack, like, hey, I made this comment on here in the PR, just want to call it out here as well, just to kind of keep that communication going and let everybody see where things are at. So I'm just going to encourage y'all to do that. Also just ask as many questions as you want, like, and try to get, like, you're welcome to ask very technical questions or just broad questions. Like we, you know, as mentors, we definitely want to be able to support you and help you and encourage you in whatever way we can. And that's definitely easier if you're vocal. So just wanted to add that. And then also just a quick note, PRs should build correctly before asking for a review from folks. I think we kind of got that figured out this week, but I just wanted to make a verbal note of that as well.
That's good feedback. Thanks. So Tamara.
Yeah, with Mindy saying I was thrown the wild cards, I would love to kind of pass a wild card just for other people to get that merge, you know, experience, because I just feel like maybe the issues can have like simple little asterisks like, hi, these might have, you know, merge conflicts that might overwrite the previous issues or something like that. So if a pair is working on this from the previous issue, and then when you continue, it might, you know, overwrite or change it, the whole, you know, the entire code in a way. So maybe just a disclaimer for us to know, you know, there might be a conflict in the midst, you know, that you don't know, like when you're going through it. But you know, yeah, I would love, you know, if someone else or if I did watch someone else, you know, react to merge conflicts, or if, you know, and going over it with my partner, like, oh yeah, it might conflict, but it's fine. Because at this point, I now know it's a normal thing. But in the beginning, I know it was very panicky for me to not mess up anything in GitHub. But I don't think it's whether the disclaimers are added or not, it's fine because it happens. So, but that was just my small, minor little what could be improved. So, but other than that, I don't have any complaints.
Cool. Vanessa.
Yeah. So mine was about probably how I felt a little bad for Adam and Tamara, because I feel like you guys had to work a little bit more this weekend, because it just would have been nice if because I know Taryn and my PR, like you needed that token to get your thing working. So maybe these weekly syncs, it might be nice when we're talking about the issues to be like, okay, yeah, who should merge for, like, let's figure that out. Because then also the other team can know, like, okay, I need to look over their PR requests really quickly and get on that. Just so that, again, I want to like respect people's time. We've all got a lot going on, and yeah, maybe a little bit more planning on who merges first and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So next, Adam.
Yeah, obviously mine kind of follows on from what Taryn says below me, but also kind of what Vanessa just said as well. I think we could, you know, yeah, we can even look a bit more to the future and kind of planning ahead what we need to do, whether that's in, you know, merging first or just even sense of what we want maybe the app to look like. I think we're already, you know, we're pretty good at communicating, but you know, there's always room to do even more of it, I guess.
Taryn?
Yeah, Adam was following my card. So essentially echoing the same thing, that maybe even looking at the other pair's issue cards as well, just to understand like what it is that they're working on. Like that's part of it too. And I think that it could be easy to just like get focused on what we have to implement, but that they do eventually inform each other. So that makes sense to be aware of that and to communicate those things, because that will inform, yeah, the order of what we do and our issues and things to look out for essentially. So yeah.
In my case, I think that, yeah, in my case, it's similar to what Mindy said. So maybe I feel guilty of not like being loud enough. Again, I'm gonna try to improve on that, and I encourage everybody to be more loud if you want to. But yeah, that would be ideal to all learn at the same time and learn new stuff. And Lyle.
Yeah, I think you know, the gist of my comment has already been expressed, which is great. But I'll just reiterate, you know, I think everybody's thinking ahead, which is awesome. I think we know we want to communicate. We've been communicating. We want to communicate even more and you know, early and do it in Slack. And I think that's all great. And then just, you know, think about that where the conflicts with the other pair will come into, and just make sure we're trying to get out as early as possible so that we can resolve them as early as possible. And you know, that'll resolve any kind of panicky or last minute or issues. You know, the earlier you think about them, the better off in the smoother merges and stuff will go. Which you know, I think is just it's a natural thing. I think you'll get a feel for it more as you progress and go along. But it's something you always want to be thinking about, right? Like where will this bump with the other team?
Cool, great. So thanks everybody for participating in our first retrospective. I think that it has been great, and I love how all have been like very open to feedback and to share ideas. Sorry that took much time, Mindy, because I know that you now go with the next week's issues, but I hope that this will be helpful for everybody. So thanks.
I didn't even notice what time it is, but yeah, we have 7 minutes. Let's get into issues for next week. I'll take over screen sharing this time. And let's see here. Okay, great. So we have 2 more issues. Our first issue here is as a user, I want to join an existing shopping list so I can share a shopping list with another person. That correlates a little bit here with what we already have set up, like at least the frame of it, where we're adding in that token and then be able to click on that join existing list, and you can join an existing list, and that gives you all of the permissions associated with it as well. So you can add items, delete items, etc. So some more details here. You can share your token with other users to allow them to co-manage that given list. Joining that list, you enter that existing token. That token gets saved to your local storage, and then that redirects you to the existing list. The acceptance criteria here is that when the user does not already have a token in local storage, the onboarding home screen shows up, and that form is displayed that allows you to enter the token, which that one's already done. So thinking ahead, awesome. And then entering the token and hitting submit saves the token to local storage, giving them joint control of the list. One thing here, if the token does not exist currently within the Firebase console, when you click on submit, it should show an error. And then if you get the error message, it should allow you to try again or create the new list. So that is the first issue. Give you just a second here. Are there any questions, clarifications that y'all want on this before we move on to the next one?
Maybe we can talk about it after we go over the second one, but I'd love to chat about the, I know Tamara and Adam had talked about like creating another collection in the Firebase with a list. And I almost think, I don't know that we necessarily need to do that just to make this job easier. But we can talk about that maybe after we go over the second one, because I don't want to take
Yeah.
too much time.
That's a great thing to point out. Thanks for doing that, Vanessa. So yeah, that's a conversation point that y'all will probably want to have. I don't know if we'll have time for it in the meeting. So maybe even just a Slack conversation might be helpful for that, because that is a decision that you all will want to make. There's a few different ways to approach it. So trade-offs always. Awesome. All right. And the second one we have here, as a user, I want to be alerted when I'm entering an item that is the same as something already on my list, so I can avoid those duplicate items. The acceptance criteria here is that you're going to be shown an error message if the user tries to submit a new item that has the exact same name as the existing item. And you're going to show an error message if the user tries to submit a new item that has the same name as an existing item where capitalization has been normalized and punctuation has been removed. So if there is a hyphen, for instance, like chocolate chips, if you have a hyphen between chocolate chips, is that the same thing as chocolate chips without a hyphen? Why you would put a hyphen in chocolate chips, I don't know. But that's the thing to consider there. Or if obviously, if like bananas is capitalized versus bananas not being capitalized, are those the same item? Well, yes, they are. So dealing with those in your code here. And then the user's original input should be what gets saved into the database and not whatever is causing the error as well. So that's just part of the acceptance criteria there. Any questions on this issue? Okay. And let's talk about then our pairs for the week. We have Adam and Vanessa, and Tamara and Taryn. Just want to open up the floor for anybody. Is there a particular issue that sounds good for you two as a pair? Or yeah, open up the floor a little bit.
I'd like a shot at working with Firebase more. I think Tamara, you've worked a lot with the database, and I feel like that's where I'm the most foggy on in this project so far. So I would love the opportunity to get more exposure with that. So I think that would be more of issue 6, perhaps. Is that true? Like how data persists in the database and all that, yeah. It's handled.
Sure. I would like 6 as well.
But you might be sick of it, so.
No, I actually love it. But like, I did find something new about it too, even Adam, So hopefully when you tinker around with it as well, it'll be like, oh, what about this? And I'll be like, I've never seen that before either. So
cool.
I'm fine with 6.
Okay. Vanessa and Adam, does the number 5 sound okay to you?
Yeah, sure. Fine by me, unless you have a problem with it, Vanessa.
No, that sounds great.
Awesome. Okay, I am going to make, there was another thing I wanted to make a note of. There were 2 things. One thing, I remember when I first went into issues, so much of the time I was like, I have no idea how to do any of this. And I remember it feeling a little bit daunting each time. So I want you to know that feeling is totally normal and fine. Even like, working professionally, there's so much of the time where I pick up a ticket and I'm like, I have no idea how to do this, but I guess I'm figuring it out. And that's just normal. And so I want you to feel normal about that. And then also there is currently the list, how it's set up is the list isn't actually paying attention to the token, I believe. So y'all might want to talk about that at some point. It goes in line with how the database is structured as well. So that's some conversation points that might be helpful to have early on in the week here. However y'all want to approach that.
Okay.
Oh, and it looks like Juan's going to create the pair threads in Slack, so that's awesome. And yeah, that's all I have for the issues for the week.
Are we allowed to do a group session? But both are opened at the same time. No.
I've done that multiple times too. I love mob programming. It's great. Everybody working together on the same code. So if you have the time to do that and you want to do that, absolutely. I'd even encourage, like, y'all talked about merge conflicts and that sort of thing. Sometimes it's helpful to get everybody on the call to do the merge conflict together, so you can kind of discuss, you know, what the other person's code is doing and how that interacts with your code too. So yeah, absolutely. If y'all are able to, or even like a subset of all of you, like that's
Cool.
totally, you're welcome to do that as you need.
And also something else. Oh, go ahead, Light.
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna be scheduling. I'll do the thingy, the doodle for office hours this week. So we'll get that up. There's not really anything stopping you from using the same link that is in the retro, or that was in this weekly syncs and will be used for the office hours. If you want to hop into the room and use that for a group session at any other point in the week, there's really nothing stopping you from doing that. So if you decide to self-organize something else along those lines, by all means, feel free to use the room.
Cool.
Or Slack, one of
it. I was gonna say, because this is not my I don't have office hours this week, but maybe if you can like also take the time to like vote on the same date for the office hours, I think that it will be probably Lyle. So maybe you can also talk about merging strategies, about any sort of stuff related to the project. So maybe if you want to, I encourage you to check one time early in the week, so then maybe you can discuss about that. So yeah, but it's up to you, because I'm not the one that I'm doing that this week, just a suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We can coordinate stuff in Slack and things, so we can get that whatever we want set up and ready to go. All right.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions, concerns, kudos, dance moves? You know, we need to get out before we close the meeting today. Cool. Great. All right. Y'all are doing awesome. Just want to reiterate that. Like, this is going really well, and it seems like we're off on the right foot and making things go, and it's doing a great job. So keep it up, and I think you're going to be really happy with the way things turn out if you keep going like this. So, all right. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to close the meeting. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.